Now it's approaching noon. The strikers are starting to walk out of this facility. We are in Warren, Michigan. So Shawn Fain had his live stream earlier today on Facebook. He announced there will be 38 new locations going on strike. All of those locations are either at GM or Stellantis. The reason for that is Ford has actually come to the table and met some of the concessions, and Stellantis and GM are not budging a little bit. So let's watch this for a second, and I'll give you guys more updates. Talking about job security, some of the things that they're looking to achieve still. So effectively, the locations that were added this morning, the 38 locations, Stellantis and GM only, are parts distributors and parts. So these locations going on strike are effectively going to shut down everything else. So this is a big deal, and this is going to force, hopefully force both GM and Stellantis to come to the table.
And they're like at the gate.
Saying save Mopar.
Save Mopar, yeah. So Mopar is the parts. So things that were won by Ford, and the reason their locations aren't being expanded is they have decided that they are going to bring back COLA, which is the cost of living. They are going to reinstate that. They are going to convert the temp workers to full-time after 90 days. So that will effectively eliminate these temporary workers that have been working, 5 to 7 years at low wages. They will become full-time employees. And then going forward, temp workers will only last for 90 days. They'll get converted. So that's a good concession to win. And then they're going to allow strikes at over closed plants, because a lot of these plants they're threatening to close. Part of the conversation is with electric vehicles. I think probably going forward, the UAW is going to look to unionize all of the electric facilities as well. They're chanting "Save Mopar" right now.
Yeah, go ahead. Of course. Oh my gosh. Yeah. We're all doing the same thing.
So the workers are now walking out of the plant. You can see them come out of the facility. They haven't quite made it through the security gates here. We also have a group of workers that work at different places showing up to support in solidarity. They're already in the parking lot. And this is currently happening at 38 locations across the country. Some of the locations are as far away as Los Angeles, obviously all the way through the Midwest. But this is going to effectively shut down Stellantis and GM going forward. They are not going to be able to produce any vehicles. Here they come. Workers are walking out. They're being greeted by their co-workers that are out here in solidarity in the parking lot. And I believe they're probably going to come out to the sidewalk in a minute and start picketing. Make sure you share this live stream. Smash that like button, share the live stream. We want to get as many viewers as we possibly can. And also, if you can become a member, we would appreciate it. We don't take corporate funding. It is your donations that help us get out here on the street and cover these things. It's expensive us to run the live view, the hotel rooms, food and whatnot. So if you can afford to become a member, we'd appreciate that.
Okay.
All right, so we have workers coming out now. They're actually headed toward the sidewalk. Hi there, how are you?
How you doing?
Don't be shy. Yeah. All right, we're walking over here where we can get. Save Mopar. Lots of cheering. Save Mopar. You coming out on strike? Do you work at this facility?
I'm actually helping negotiate the contract right now.
All right, on.
Yeah.
So it looks like Ford came to the table with some good concessions, but Stellantis and GM are not moving. What's up with that?
You know, they're just not taking us serious, it seems like, right now. We're fighting more for, we want product in the United States here. It seems like for Stellantis, they want to build all their vehicles in Melfi, Italy. They want to build them in Mexico. We don't want that. We want our jobs. We want to work. We don't want to strike. We want our work right here. But
did you see the Mark Roos op-ed that came out in the Detroit Free Press?
I did not.
Okay,
we've been working long hours
all
trying
right.
to get an agreement. That's what we want to do.
This was just ridiculous propaganda, in my opinion. The headline was basically that it's misinformation that a lot of workers are getting poverty wages, working long hours, not having time off. I know this isn't true. We've been on your strike lines for the last 8 days. I have spoken to workers that are 7 years at a temp wage, 7 years.
They work our temporary workers 7 days a week, 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's not temporary work. That's full-time work. And they're being paid at a rate that's half of a full-time seniority employee.
Right.
Yep.
And what's also wild to me is he was trying to make the case that 85% of the workers are being paid well, so don't worry about the 15%, but he misunderstands what the point of a union is by saying that. Unions are there for all workers, period, end of story, not just for 85% of the workforce. And of course the ones that are well paid are going to step out and leverage where they're at to help those that aren't there yet. How does he not understand that?
They don't care. They just strictly don't care. All they care about is the profits and it's corporate greed. It's pretty sad, to be honest with you.
I agree.
So, yep.
We got to go out there. And thank you for talking with us. Appreciate it. All right, so we were just talking with one of the Mopar workers that's also been in some of the rooms with the negotiations. So again, these are 38 new locations that are going on strike. They are all either GM or Stellantis because Ford has come to the table now. They are giving back the COLA, which is the cost of living adjustments that they lost in 2008. They are willing to eliminate the tiers, which has been obviously a big point of contention. One of the things that Mark Roos was saying in this op-ed was that 85% of the workers are getting, a decent wage of around $85,000, but he's neglecting to understand that unions don't only work for 85% of the workers, they work for 100% of them, and that means that the 15% that are working as temp workers for 7 years, that are getting $17, $18 an hour, that are required to work double shifts 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, whatever, that those folks, they need to be paid a fair wage and they need to be brought up where their coworkers are, the other 85%. So it's everybody in, nobody out. That is what a union does. I find it hard to believe that Mark doesn't understand that, so I'm going to go with it. Maybe he's putting out some corporate propaganda that he thinks on a certain level may sway public opinion. Right now, public opinion is with the workers. People are listening to their stories. They're not okay with what they're seeing. We spoke with a guy yesterday that works at Stellantis that basically when he told me that basically when he went from being a temporary worker to a full-time worker, he lost $2 an hour in wages when they made that move because they started him over again. That is incredibly unfair. There's no reason for that to happen, but apparently this is not an isolated incident. I'm being told it happens with frequency. We spoke with another worker yesterday who basically never knows when he's going to work. So he could be making plans with his family and then be called into work and have to miss out on those plans. Or the opposite could happen. He thinks he's going to work and he goes in and they call him off and say, no, we're not having you today at the last minute. So it's not unreasonable for people to anticipate, having a normal work week, knowing when you're going to work and being able to count on that. And a lot of these folks aren't getting paid more than what they would at McDonald's. And they're kind of making the case that, well, I could go work at a fast food restaurant, which requires no skill set, and I would know when I'd be working, and I'd be making the same wage. So why am I here? All right, so that's basically what they're fighting for. I also wanted to mention that Shawn Fain this morning gave updates on things that are happening outside of the UAW because they also have other types of workers. He mentioned that they organized a higher ed facility, so those brand new union is going to be part of the UAW group. He mentioned that they're trying to move the Blue Cross Blue Shield situation forward. They've been striking now for a little bit. So expansion of workers' rights. I think basically what we're seeing is a reawakening of labor in America. This is what it looks like. People are at their wits' end. You know, inflation has been increasing. We can't possibly blame that in increased wages, because they have been flat, if not decreasing for, you know, a couple decades now. And if that was the case, we would have had inflation 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So clearly the inflation is being motivated by profiteering, by corporate greed. One last thing I wanted to mention about the GM op-ed from Mark Roos this morning that was in the Detroit Free Press. He never addressed CEO to worker pay ratios at all. That didn't come up in conversation. I think he needs to address that because obviously it's out of control. These guys at the top never get pay cuts, but they expect all these workers who are making, you know, far less money to take pay cuts. But the reality is they don't have cars without these workers. These workers are who are day to day making the cars, putting their labor in, and they should be treated fairly for that. And then worst part of this, actually, I have to mention this, is that he ended this op-ed saying that strikes don't work, which is absolutely asinine. Of course strikes work. Strikers have always gotten concessions by striking. It's generally a last resort. It's not a first resort. I don't think any of these workers want to be doing what they're doing. They've been forced into that because they can't get what they need. So strikes are always last concession, and yes, they work. 40-hour work weeks would be a prime example. So many things that came out of the labor union that we take for granted today came from strikers early on. So for him to say that, completely asinine and absurd. All right, so we're gonna get out here on the picket line.
600 people watching.
Oh, right on.
Like the stream and share it.
Right, okay, so I have to be reminded to do this. I'm a reporter at base, and I'm very terrible at marketing, but he's right. Please share the live stream, like it. If you can afford to join as a member, we would appreciate your support. We want to keep doing what we're doing. So, will any of you guys want to talk to us? Let's see if we can find some folks to talk to. Maybe we should sneak in. Thanks.
He's the vice president.
Okay, so.
He's my boss.
Okay.
The SPU people, that is another 2,200 people. So they mislead the public and say that there'll be no job loss or consolidation. That's not true at all. They just don't count them people because the only thing they're counting is the people that stand on that line in the concrete for 8-10 hours a day. Everybody else is not value added to them. So that's wrong what they're telling the general public.
You said that the 18 facilities that they've identified will result in a loss of 5,600 jobs.
5,400. Roughly 5,400. Now they'll argue that point. They'll say that it's not true. But what they'll tell the general public is that they're guaranteeing all the jobs. But the only jobs they really want to guarantee are the people that stand on the line, like I just said. But the people that are like the salary bargaining units, the people that are like the supplementals, the people they don't want to guarantee them jobs. So I've got a big problem with that.
So where's that 5,400 number coming from?
If you take down the 1,000 that are out in Belvedere, you take the 2,000 people that want to get rid of the productivity improvements. You take the other 2,000 that you're 1,000 out of Mopar. You take another 1,000 on the combining of the Mopars. So we've got it all broke down into numbers. And like I said, they'll argue our numbers. But when we sat and argued about numbers, we kind of dumbfounded them because they didn't think we go through the numbers the way they do, or they did.
But it's a total of 5,400 jobs.
Roughly 5,400, yes.
Okay, and it's 18 facilities.
It's all the plants combined, and they want to sell or spin off or combine. Now here, let me say this to you. Here's my opinion. This is a money grab. If they sell off all these places, it's nothing more than a money grab. They're going to tell you that it's to get into electrification, but our tax dollars are paying for that. Our taxpayers are paying for the battery plants, which we have no direct path into. They have the audacity to say to me, here, what we can do is we can offer your membership a juiced up VTEP, which is a voluntary quit, and have them hire into these battery plants. That's what they asked us to do. No, I'm not going to do that. There's no way I would do that. There's no way. I owe it to these people to give them a future and the future generations of auto workers. So if we got to stay out, however long we got to stay out, we're going to stay out.
Can you explain what they actually want to do with Belvedere?
They want to make it a battery plant. They want to open up the stamping plant, which would put about 150 people in it. They want to make it a Mopar facility that would, with about 400 to 600 people. But the problem with that is, if they combine all the Mopars together, you've got 1,000 people laid off in Belvedere already. These folks they're combining their jobs do not have the ability to transfer to them locations because we don't have the jobs. We don't have the jobs there in a combined Mopar.
So what's in terms of this area, right? We have multiple Mopar locations right around here. Is it the newer Warren one? Is that what they
It's all of them here.
What would they convert into?
They want to convert them into a super hub down in Trenton. These ones down in Trenton.
Okay.
Now, you said that they want to make at Belvedere a battery plant there?
They say they want to put a battery plant there, but here's the catch. That battery, hold on, they haven't said who with, but here's the problem. That battery plant is not scheduled to open until 2028. So what do we do with the folks for the next 5 years? What happens with them? 5 years. And there's nothing even inked. They don't even have a partner yet. So we promise you we're not going to do anything. But what did they do to Belvedere? They promised them the Challenger and the Charger, and they sent it to Mexico. They had the Cherokees. They sent them down to Mexico. I mean, Challenger and Charger went to Canada. The other ones went down to Mexico. So they told Mount Elliott Tool and Die, we're going to put dies in there. We're going to open it back up. We're going to do thousands of hours of die work. They idled it and shut it down. So to tell me that they're going to put us in a battery plant with no clear path, you'd have to be Bozo the Clown to do that.
Actually, I have a question for you about the op-ed in the Detroit Free Press earlier, the GM president. It seems to me that he was trying to make the case that because 85% of the workers get decent pay, that we should disregard the 50% that aren't the temp workers. And I've interviewed a bunch of these guys. There are men that are 7 years on the job making $19 an hour as a temp worker. This makes no sense to me. So I think he fundamentally misses the point of what a union does. A union is 100% of the workers all the time period in Detroit, not 85%. Let's throw these guys under the bus.
No, absolutely.
I'd be curious on your thoughts. Actually, your thoughts on this too.
No, actually, you're absolutely right. Our job is not to leave anybody behind. You know, I'm no military guy. We don't leave anybody behind. Our job is to work for everybody equally and give them a future, right? Now, let me ask you this question. I'll shoot this at them. They keep talking about the folks being overcompensated and making too much money. Well, then tell them to bring their pay down to what the CEOs of Toyota make and Hyundai make, that $1 million a year, instead of that $24 and $29 million a year.
I don't disagree with you. In fact, I talked about this yesterday on the live stream. If you look traditionally, if you go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, you look at the disconnect that's happened between median worker pay and CEO pay. You've gone from, like a 20% number in the late 60s up to like almost 400% today. And last year, the CEOs gave themselves big bonuses. Meanwhile, if you look at the data for auto workers, they're down 20% adjusted for inflation the last 2 decades. So as far as I'm concerned, the beef is legitimate.
Yeah.
I have no problem.
And think about this. Barra and Tavares both said, and I don't call them Mr. or Mrs. because they have no respect for my membership. Barra and Tavares both said that they get paid based on their performance. Well, shouldn't our people get paid based on their performance? What's the difference? Oh, I guess it's because they're a little bit better class of person than we are. Maybe that's the issue. I don't know. Maybe they forgot how hard it is to stand on the line in concrete for 10 hours a day throwing parts. Tell them to come in here and do it for a week on end. See how that works out for them.
Clarify your title with the local news.
Yeah, I'm the International Vice President of the UAW Stellantis Department. I have all of IPS and Stellantis. Now, let me say, I got to say one thing before I stop. This is my negotiators, and these are the international reps. These folks are what make me what I am. This is the team that makes it happen. I'm the voice. This is the team, and I'm proud of each and every one of them. So I have to acknowledge every one of them, because without them, we wouldn't be nowhere. We're a team, and that's what the CEOs need to understand. We're a team, and they need us. And once they learn that, maybe things will go better for them. But you see the people, they're ready. They're ready. They're tired.
Can I ask one last question? I know you have to go. I interviewed a Stellantis worker yesterday in Toledo, Ohio, that told me a story that just was shocking to me. I'm wondering how common this is. He had been a temp worker for many years. He finally got switched over to full-time, and he actually, when he started that full-time job, lost $2 an hour.
Absolutely. That's very true. That's
how is that happening?
Because that's the way the company feels that it's to be. We're giving you a privilege to be a full-time employee.
So you should take a $2 an hour cut in
If you
pay
want to be
for
a
that?
full,
What do you
if you
get
want
in
to,
exchange? I
you're
don't
becoming a full-time employee.
That's-
You didn't know that?
No, I was shocked by this. I mean, but here's the thing,
Obviously, I'm
if
being
you're not-
facetious,
no,
right?
I got you. If you're not out here talking to workers, though, you don't hear these stories. You don't realize that this is what's going on, and you hear it, and you're like, wait, what? Now?
There are folks that are 8-year temps, 8-year supplemental workers.
Yeah.
How do you plan your life? How do you do anything? 8-year temps.
You know, also, another guy was basically saying I could go work at McDonald's for the same wage, and at least I know what days I'd be working in advance.
And that's a reason why we got 6,000 temps. Because they throw them out the door like they're disposable. Brianna, go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah, 5,400 numbers. So is that only at the 18 facilities, or is that across the entire footprint?
It's across all of Stellantis.
And then,
What about the headquarters? What do they actually want to do with that?
You know, they haven't divulged that plan yet. I mean, there's rumor that they want to petition it off and make part of it or make at least part of it. I can't speak to that. I don't want to give you false information. I really can't speak to that.
did you receive an offer from Stellantis today?
No,
So the last offer was
Wednesday, which we countered.
Okay.
So
Regardless of what they say, we countered.
you've countered number 5 then.
Yes, we did.
And was the number 5?
No, number 5 we haven't counted yet. We're going to do that probably by the end of the weekend.
Was number 5 markedly different?
Ready to go? 6, okay.
Was it markedly different?
That's why I tell you I need them.
Wait. Oh, come talk to us. That's 6 now?
No, we're counting 6.
We're countering 6 right now.
Do you see a wage difference in wage?
Not
numbers
really.
or anything?
Not really. Pretty
So
close.
It's still the
Pretty,
19
it's 20%.
20%. Not
But that's not the issue. The issue is job security and putting product into these plants in this country. That's the real issue for me. Because what good is, you can give me a 50% raise, but if I have no job security or no place for these people to go, what does it matter? It matters nothing. Our issue is job security.
We want to work.
And that's where I'm at. And for them to offer packages where we'll pay people to sit at home for 4 years or whatever they want to do, I don't want my people sitting at home. I want them working so they're productive and so that we can continue to grow the middle class. Ask Stellantis, what's their plan to grow the work in this company? What's the plan of growing? We used to always talk about growing it, right? What's the plan to grow?
What did they move on in this last agreement?
I'm not telling you, Brianna. I'm not telling
Make
you.
all their profits here, but don't want to bring.
I'm not telling you, Brianna. You know that.
You can tell them.
I'm not telling you either. But I'm done, y'all. Okay,
Yeah, I
I'm
got
done.
you.
I'm running out of breath.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for talking with us. All right. So, Rich, what is your job title at UAW?
I'm the vice president of the International Union Stellantis Department.
Stellantis only. Okay.
Yep,
All
I
right.
got Stellantis and the RPS, International Parts
All
Supply.
right. Let me ask you one quick one.
I just told you I'm done.
Do you? All right.
I mean, you want to keep going?
But I'm a reporter. I can't help myself.
I thought he was going
I can't. Reporters are going to report. We can't help
I
it.
gave you enough to get me in more trouble.
All right. Fair. All right. I appreciate it. All right. So that was Rich. We were just talking to. May we talk to some of you guys then about part of Rich's team?
John? Yeah, John's our lead negotiator.
Go down the
We're
line?
part of Rich's team, so what Rich has said.
All right, we'll let the Detroit Free Press finish up with John, and then Status Coup. We've been actually live streaming from all of your picket lines for 8 days now. We're talking to workers. We've been down in Toledo, Ohio. We've been.
Where are you based out of?
I'm based out of Los Angeles. John is based out of New York. We actually interviewed Shawn Fain on 2 days ago.
Okay.
Great interview, by the way.
Who are you with?
Well, what?
Status Group?
I feel so short when I'm in the street and you're on the curb. You got to have a little sense of humor here.
Have you noticed?
I was actually, can I ask you this? I was actually surprised to see so many locations this morning. I figured maybe it would be a smaller amount of 38, but does this not effectively shut down Stellantis and GM from making vehicles? Because these are all pretty much parts distributions?
Parts distributions to, both dealerships and parts and factories, right?
Okay, so, and then the other thing I'm wondering, so Ford actually, okay. I'm a reporter, I'm going to keep going.
I
I
don't see
can't.
you in the center. This is our lead negotiator.
All right.
Oh, you got Josh. He's actually from Mopar.
Okay, I can,
Yep.
and I can get up on the curb here. I feel so much taller now. So you're in charge of the Mopar for the UAW?
For negotiate, I'm one of the negotiators, yeah.
Oh, okay. So my question is this. So it seems to me that the choices that were made this morning, the 38 locations, this effectively shuts down Stellantis and GM's ability to make cars, right?
Well, not to make parts, to deliver parts to the dealerships.
But without the parts, they're done, right? I mean, this seems like a really strategic cut.
Yeah.
That's the idea, right?
Yeah, that's the idea behind it.
I'm also curious to know, Ford came to the table. They're going to give back COLA. It sounds like they are eliminating the tiers, and they're going to convert that to 90 days temporary, and then you're full-time, which is a big deal.
Right.
Do you think, because I'm generally not charitable to why these guys make decisions. I think all of their decisions are based on what they're going to do profit-wise, period, end of story. Do you think Ford is playing more of a chess game where they're saying, hey, we're going to give the workers more of what they're asking for, the other two are not, so that's going to be a better deal for us, we won't be shut down?
Yeah, they're definitely farther along, right, than GM and Stellantis. So.
And GM's obviously not.
Right.
Did you read the Mark Roos op-ed in the Detroit Free Times this morning? I don't know if you saw that.
The president of GM, what he said?
Yeah. He seems to be missing the point that unions cover 100% of workers, not 85% of workers.
Yeah, I mean, he just kind of threw himself under the bus there. So, I mean,
I read this, and the headline is something about we're spreading misinformation. That would be me as well as you, because we've been talking to these workers that are in the 15% and don't have a fair deal. This isn't misinformation. These are verifiable facts. There are people that have been temp workers for 7 years, 9 years. They're making $17, $19 an hour. That's just a fact.
Yeah, a lot of them quit because there's no future, no chance to become full-time. So a lot of them quit after 3 or 4 years because they get tired of it.
I don't blame them for that. We spoke with one guy that had a cut in pay when he finally did get converted. Yeah. He works out with the Stellantis Ohio plants. And he lost $2 an hour when he went to full time. That's insane.
Yeah, hopefully we can get all that fixed once this is said and done. For everybody to hold, like you said, it's not 85%; it's 100% of the membership.
Right. I mean, the point is you leverage the 85% to bring up the 15. That is what a union is. Everybody in, no one out. That is the point. And I think Mark is probably smarter than that, and he's trying to sort of sway the conversation.
Right.
All right, so I will grant him that. That's his job, but it seemed very silly to me. The other thing he said was that strikes don't work. I think that's absolutely nonsense. Strikes absolutely do work.
If you look back through the history, they do work. Sit-down strikes, all that, all the way, because that's how we got safety in the industry, right?
Right, safety, 40-hour work week.
Right. I mean, it works.
It works. Obviously, it works.
Nobody wants to, but at some point you have to get what you need for the membership.
And that's part of the conversation. Strikes are a last resort. It's not a first resort. The fact that we are at this point right now, we didn't get here overnight.
No.
Do you want to come join us? No?
I mean, we've been up here since July 9th, started negotiating July 10th, and this is where we're at now. So,
it's crazy.
Right.
And then he made one other thing that I thought was interesting, one other point where they were saying they were taking all of this capital, all these profits, these huge profits they've been making, they're reinvesting them into, building new buildings, new facilities. And he's basically trying to say that they were almost losing money if you ran the numbers. But if you look at the company statements for the period of time that he's talking about, not all of that money is accounted for on these company statements. We could only find about 50% of it being accounted for. So I don't know where he's getting this bigger number from. It seems strange to me. Wouldn't that be on the company statement if it's going into capital investment?
Like in that article you pointed out, stock buybacks, all that stuff, right? So it's not really all going back into the building.
No, it's not. In fact, when we talked to Shawn Fain a couple days ago, he was mentioning that 1,500% increases in stock buybacks have occurred over the last 4 years. That is crazy. And for folks that don't know what those are, basically they're taking profits, they're buying stock on the open market, which means there's fewer shares out there, and that automatically sort of drives up the value of the underlying shares that are left on the market. This gooses the returns for the shareholders, for the investors, for upper management that has options, for upper management that's possibly getting part of their pay through stock. It does not help workers, and it's very much disconnected with the broader economy. Another thing that you hear people say is the economy is doing great. But the reality is the stock market is a gauge for rich people's feelings at this point. It doesn't really tell you what's happening in the broader economy. There may be more jobs out there, but they are jobs that are underpaid where people aren't getting a living wage, and I think that's the point.
I mean, you get a job, like fast food right now, more than you start out in Stellantis, $15.78. So, that's what we're trying to end here.
Yeah, it's crazy.
For the membership. So,
thank you for talking with us.
Give a shout out to Orlando, Florida, local 1649.
Right on. And so, yeah, let's talk about that for quick, though, before I go away. 38 locations. I recognize one of them was Los Angeles.
Yep.
So there's some in Florida. They're spread over pretty much every state, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're all over the country.
Okay.
So, I mean, I go through and name them if you want.
Some of them, yeah. What are the big ones?
So the big one, obviously, Center Line, Sherwood, Warren, Romulus. You got Marysville up here. You got Milwaukee. You got Chicago, PDC. Then you got Winchester, New York, Boston. All the PDCs is going that the company wants to combine or shut down. You know, if you read the article earlier that came out earlier in the week, so that's what we need to try to stop.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so that is part. We should mention that that's part of the deal here is the plant closures. Because if they get a good contract where there's increased pay, but there's no worker security, job security for these workers at these plants that are being targeted for closure, it's a problem.
Right.
So let me ask you this. I think one of the Ford concessions was that they were going to allow strikes for closing plants.
Yeah, so that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal, isn't
Because
it?
we've never had it before.
Oh, you've never had that before?
No.
Okay.
So that's strong language.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So hopefully we get, Ford gets something done and we get, come back to, when we go back to the table, get close so we can get a deal.
Well,
soon.
I think Ford.
Sooner than later.
I think Ford caving is also going to put pressure on Stellantis and GM, because if Ford is saying, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to get our workers back in here, we're going to keep building cars, your cars aren't going to be out there in the public. Your people aren't going to be able to buy your cars because you're refusing to give way in any reasonable fashion. Ford also becomes a winner in that in a way.
Right, because, they get a deal done, they go back to making cars, selling cars, and make money, and everybody goes back to work. So, I mean, that's what we're all here for. So.
All right, thank you for talking with us.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, we're going to kind of walk down here to the strike line. We got people honking as they go by in support. That guy has a little dog. If you're just joining the live stream, this is day 8 of the United Auto Workers strike. We are currently on the ground in Warren, Michigan. This is a Mopar plant.
Yeah, check your text.
Okay.
Thank you, Frank. We're outside of Mopar Parts and Distribution Center in Center Line, Michigan. Shawn, why the Parts and Distribution Center?
Our PDCs in particular, they've been stepped on a lot in the past, and they're one of the tiers we're talking about. One of our biggest objectives in this round of bargaining is ending tiers.
Yes.
Anyone that hires in at the PDC since 2015 is capped at $25 an hour. They're making less than our typical workers are in big 3 plants, and it's time we end that. So they're a very integral part of what we do, and they deserve their share of economic and social justice just like everybody else does.
When we talked with Stellantis earlier this week, Stellantis owning Mopar, they said, look, if we have to close down some facilities, it's because we're trying to make a more efficient organization. What do you say to that and the possibility, whether it's this Mopar facility or another one that they want to close down? What do you say to that?
Well, they shouldn't be closing any facilities. These are the best of times. This is the part that they're not getting, and this is the part that the world needs to know.
But they say these workers will still have a job, just not at this facility.
Well, and it's easy for them to say, but you know what? Tell everybody, here's your option. We're going to shut your facility down. Now pack your crap and move yourself miles away to find another job. It's ridiculous. We're better than this. These are the best of times in the history of these companies, and these workers have created these massive profits. And they continue to be left behind and going backwards. That has to stop.
Yeah.
More than a few people have said, why not hit another assembly plant? Why a parts and distribution center? They're primarily supplying dealers around the country. Why not hit another assembly plant?
That may be the next step we take. There's a lot of options with our stand-up strike strategy, and it's just going to depend on what these companies do. This is our next move in the process, and I think it's a great move. This is one of the strongest aspects of our membership, is these PDCs. They generate a lot of profits, especially for Stellantis. They generate a lot of profits. During the economic recession, these are the people that kept the company going. These are the people that were working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day during the recession. And so they're an important part of what we do.
How would you characterize negotiations with Stellantis right now? From the outside, a lot of people think you're farthest away with Stellantis compared to GM and Ford.
GM and Stellantis are both in the same place, in my opinion. We've not made progress there, and it's unfortunate. They chose, and I want to make this clear, they chose for us to be out here right now. This wasn't a decision we made. This was a company's decision. We came to them at the beginning of bargaining over 8 weeks ago with the demands. We gave them everything up front. They waited for over a month to even respond to our economic demands. There's no excuse for that. We've told them from the outset, don't wait till the last week. You're going to find yourself in a bad position, and they decided to wait till then. This is all on them.
But Shawn, there were leaked messages that came out overnight from someone within the UAW, essentially saying, look, we create chaos here. We'll have these guys scrambling around. Give the appearance that you guys want to keep them guessing for an extended period of time, that you want to go on strike 7, 8, 9 weeks, whatever the length may be, but not for a week. You don't want to get a resolution. What do you say to that, the people who saw those messages and thought, wait a second, this isn't bargaining in good faith? I say shame on the corporations for putting that BS out there, number one. Are you saying that's not true? Was that message true?
The message may be true, but whoever said it, but the point is this. That's not been our mission has been to get an agreement before bargaining started. We want our members to get their fair share of economic justice. And when they talk about chaos and all that, we have to plan. We have to plan for the worst case scenario. We had to plan because we know how these companies act, and we know that we planned on the fact that they were going to screw around and wait till the end like they always do instead of getting serious about our members' concerns. So we have a plan in place, and call it chaotic, call it what you want to call it. It's strategic in everything we're doing, and the companies own this. This is on their shoulders. Everything that's happening right now is on their shoulders. They own it because they chose not to take care of the membership.
Yeah. Shawn Fain, president of the UAW, out here at the Mopar Parts and Distribution Center in Centerline, just north of Detroit. Frank, I'll send it back to you.
No pay! No parts! No pay! No parts! No pay! No parts! No parts! No pay! No parts! Good job, Brian. No parts! No pay! No parts! No pay! No parts! No parts!
Consumers more than companies justify that. The expansion of the strike hurts the consumers a lot more than the companies. How do you justify that?
I'll tell you how I justify it. What's hurt the consumers is the last 4 years these companies have raised the price of vehicles 34%. It wasn't because of our wages. It wasn't because our wages went backwards. We got 6% pay increases. CEOs got 40% pay increases. Meanwhile, the companies have made billions and billions in profit. So the consumers are being price gouged by these companies. It has nothing to do with what we're doing now. We're taking care of the consumer. You know what? When you create better paying jobs, we don't just bargain for ourselves. We bargain for the entire working class. And when you create better paying jobs and a better standard of living for all working class people, that's what keeps the economy going. Not a race to the bottom, which is what these companies are trying to push.
What concessions have you made to the companies now with the updates on the negotiations right now? On behalf of the UAW?
That's in flux. I mean, how we're bargaining is in flux. I mean, I don't want to get into the intricate details of everything we're doing, but we have our objectives that our membership expects us to deliver on, and if the companies do not deliver, then we're going to do what we have to do to get it.
In the agenda from the leaked text messages, instead of prioritizing the workers, how do you respond to the release of those texts?
That's complete BS. The workers are number one priority. Anyone that says that is foolish. And this is nothing but a ploy by the companies to put spin out there to try to create a diversion from the fact that they don't take care of the workers. They own this. This strike is because of the companies. It's because the companies don't give a damn about their workers, and it's time they take care of their workers first.
Thank you, Shawn.
Thank you.
How do you justify $26 million bonuses?
Well, I mean, obviously, you know, Ford showed more of an incentive to want to get an agreement. We've been at the table every day, 24/7, since the middle of July, with all three of the big three. The vice presidents, the bargaining teams have been there every day, pushing this agenda, telling them what we expect. Ford finally came to us and said they want to get moving, so they're showing they're actually moving. They showed some definitely some better progression. So, you know, we chose to not hit them at this point, and as long as we get to a good point with them, then we won't have to. But if things go backwards, we'll take action there too. So it's up to the companies. All of this is up to companies.
What are the sticking issues with GM?
Job security. There's a lot. Wages, cost of living allowance. I mean, the list goes on and on. Retirement security, I mean, they've really not answered any of those things.
You bristled at White House interference and kind of sent Acting Secretary Tina-Desiree Berg back to Washington, D.C. And then you called out President Biden today. Is that a mixed message from you? Do you want President Biden's involvement?
There's no mixed message here. Let me be clear about this. Our message to anyone running for public office is that we're going to make endorsements with people that are there for us, and that's shown through your actions, not through words. Our invitation to anyone today, including the White House, to come and join our workers on a picket line, that's an open invitation for anybody. That's where you see support. Proof is in the action. As far as sending Julie Sue back, or we didn't send her back. She didn't come. We've had conversation with the White House. We've talked with them throughout this process about where we are on things and how things are progressing, just as we have many members of Congress that have reached out, and that's just part of the process.
Shawn, can you talk about
But we're going to bargain our agreement. This agreement is going to be bargained by the negotiators, by the vice presidents, and by our team.
Shawn, can you talk about the thought process to hit the PDCs and kind of essentially disrupt things on the new car and the used car repair side?
The PDCs are just another group of people that have been underrepresented, and they've been left behind. Their wages were capped in 2015 at $25 per hour. It put them severely below our standard in the big three. So it's time they get their fair share. It's time we bring them back to our standard. And they're a big piece of the puzzle. They've been mistreated and abused for years. It's time they get their share of economic justice.
How strong is your message when you strike 38 additionals all at the same time?
Well, I mean, I'll leave that up to you to say, but that's the company's made this decision. I'll just go back to that. This is on them. They own it. They chose not to address our members' concerns. They chose not to address these issues, and as long as they keep that attitude, we will keep cranking up the pressure.
How far do you think the gap is between GM and Stellantis right now?
It's pretty big.
Salary, job security, like priorities of what you're discussing.
Well, we've been very, very clear with the companies. Ending tiers is a huge priority. Just like our workers here, they're a tier of workers. There's no excuse for it. Their work should be valued as much as anybody else's. Wages. We haven't seen wage increase. We went backwards in wages in the last 15 years. In the last decade, these companies made $250 billion. In the last 6 months, they made $21 billion. CEO pay went up 40%. The price of cars went up 34%. Hell, most of our members can't even afford to buy what we make. And so this is about wages. 6% pay increases in the last 4 years. Inflation went up almost 20%. We're going backwards.
To what extent?
Are you guys still sitting at 40?
Are we what?
Are you still sitting at 40% increase over the term of the contract? We've heard some of them have gone with offers at 20 or a little higher.
The companies have been around 19 to 20% in their offer. It's not enough. It's not going to get where we need to be. And when we get to that point, we'll make that decision. But ultimately, it's the members' decision. They're going to make that decision. No matter what we bring to the membership, this is their contract. They're going to have the final say.
GM came out and said,
Where's the need to be figured?
I did hear that.
Where's the need to be figured? Are you still at 40 or whatever? You say you need to get where we
Well, it's going to depend on a lot of things. It's going to depend on cost of living. It's going to depend on retirement security. It's going to depend on several issues. And right now, we are nowhere on several of those issues in the company. So all those things play into the final decision.
Are the negotiations contentious, or is there a friendly dialogue?
I mean, I wouldn't call it friendly. I mean, we have an objective. We have a membership to represent. We're going to represent their interests, and we're going to do whatever the hell we have to do to get it. And it's a shame we have to have this type of relationship, but again, this is on the companies. They have to own it.
Will you electrification and battery plants remain on the table?
It's a permissive subject of bargaining. I mean, naturally, it's a shame again that the companies chose in this transition to leave the workers behind. And have nothing in this for them right now. And naturally, do we want to see that change? Yes, we do. At a minimum, we want to see this work at our standards, and it's nowhere near that right now. And we are not going to sit around while these companies drive a continued race to the bottom. That's what this is all about, so it's got to stop.
What do you tell Americans who are start feeling this at home? What do you tell Americans who are start feeling the impacts of this at home?
This is as much about them as it is anybody else. This is not just about the UAW and our auto workers. This is about working class people all over this country, all over this world. This is all of our fight. The days of the billionaire class and the corporate class running away with all the profits while we're all left behind scraping to get by paycheck to paycheck, those days have to end. and we're starting that battle right here, right now.
Last week you took a break on the weekends.
Hold on. Can you respond to the GM president's question or op-ed this morning about you're only supposed to care about 85% of the workers and the other 15% don't seem to matter? Can you respond to that?
I think it's pathetic, and it's just a testament of how little they understand about the people that work for them. And that's why we're standing here right now. Everybody matters. All of our workers matter. We care about 100% of our members, and not just our members. We care about 100% of the working class and the poor and the downtrodden in this country. It's time we turn this thing around.
Will negotiations continue over the weekend?
Yes, we've been available 24/7 since the onset. And
last weekend there was a break from Saturday to Monday.
Well, no, we met Saturday, Sunday. We met through the whole weekend. So now we plan on doing that again this weekend. I mean, the companies have to be willing to meet and be willing to come to the table. So we'll see how that progresses.
Why should Americans who need their cars fixed, consumers, be suffering as a result of the UAW strike?
They're not. That's a question. That's a question for the companies. That's a question for the companies to answer, because the companies chose to put us in this position because they've had 8 weeks to get a contract, and they chose for 7 weeks to screw around and do nothing. They got serious in the last week. This isn't on the UAW workers. When bad things happen and things that are happening right now, it's all because the companies. They own it. It's on their shoulders.
So do you deny that it's going to hurt the consumers in the long run?
What's hurt the consumers in the long run is the fact that companies have raised prices on vehicles 35% in the last 4 years. It's not because of our wages. Our wages went up 6%. The CEO pay went up 40%. Profits have been in the billions, the hundreds of billions. They own all this. That's what's hurting the consumers.
On the GM website, they said their profits are going toward, their billions of dollars of profits going towards EVs and reinventing themselves. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, you know what? That may be where part of their profit is, but you know what? The sad reality is they're leaving our workers behind in this transition to EV. And then on top of that, we're funding it. Our taxpayer dollars are funding this transition to the EV. So they're taking the profits generated by our members' work. They're leaving us out of the equation for the future work, and then on top of that, they're taking our tax dollars. It's a lose-lose all the way around for working class people, and again, the billionaire class continues to walk away with the loot, so people like Elon Musk can build another rocket ship and shoot themselves to the damn moon. Those days got to end.
As far as the strike fund, how long do you think you can continue down this road?
As long as it takes.
Where have GM and Stellantis moved this year?
I'm gonna walk with our people now.
Okay.
This is about the membership, and I encourage you all to talk to our members. They're the ones this is all about. Let them tell you what they go through. Let them share their experience with you. It's important you hear it from them. Thank you.
All right, so Shawn Fain is obviously out here on the picket line right now, answering questions from the media. He's going to be walking with the strikers. We had Fox News asking completely bizarre questions about why they're hurting consumers. Obviously, this worker strike has nothing to do with consumers. We've discussed the fact that wage increases, it's been this sort of economic sacred cow that you don't slay, that if you increase wages, inflation grows up. But in reality, we have seen depressed wages for 2 decades now. If you go to the Labor Bureau of Statistics, you can see that adjusted for inflation, auto worker pay is down 20% over the last 2 decades. And clearly, we've had a lot of inflation lately, and there has been no wage increase. So this just seems like a ridiculous question. I have no problem calling the Fox guy out on that. Shawn is also recommending that the media talks to the workers. I think he's right on this. These are the people that are being affected by what's happening right now. Striking isn't a first choice, it's a last choice. In many ways, striking will produce hard effects on these workers. So he's right on that. And as you know, we've been out here talking to workers for the last 8 days. In fact, I would love to talk to you if you'll talk to me. Yeah. What is your name?
Tamika Wilson.
Tamika, do you work here at the Mopar plant? Are you here in solidarity with them? What's your story?
At the Mopar plant.
Okay, so you were one of the workers that walked out this morning.
Yes.
So it seems that Ford came in and made some concessions. They're going to get back COLA, which is the cost of living. They're going to get rid of the tiered pay. I know Stellantis has like 5 tiers. So these are workers doing the same exact job, but there's 5 different pay tiers for that same exact job. Some of them are making $17, $19 an hour. That is not misinformation. It's a verifiable fact, no matter what anybody says. So it's understandable why people would say that's not fair. How long have you been working here? What's your personal story?
Well, I've been here a year. I'm still a temp, but we do the same job. We do the same job as other people do, and we're overworked, underpaid.
So what level, how many years have you been here, months as a temp?
A year.
A year now.
Yeah.
We talked to one guy yesterday who had been a temp worker for 7 years, and apparently that's not uncommon. Clearly, if you're at a job for 7 years, you're a permanent employee. It's crazy to treat somebody like that.
Yeah. It's crazy because why should you still be on a temp? You don't get all your benefits, and it's unfair to us because we still have families.
Right.
Another
thing they do with the temp workers apparently is you don't have a set schedule. It varies from week to week, and sometimes things can be changed at the last minute, so it makes it difficult to plan, just basic life stuff.
Yes, it's very difficult because one day you might work and I come in and then I'm off the rest of the week. So it vary from days.
So then you're not even guaranteed a minimum pay if you're not working 6 days. 1 week you're on, next week you're not working at all. So that's a problem too. It's understandable why people have a beef here.
It's self-explanatory. It is.
I agree with you that it is self-explanatory, but it seems a lot of folks aren't getting that message for whatever reason. I don't know. We heard some. Could you hear some of the questions that were being thrown at Shawn?
I could hear a few of them, but it is what it is. No pay, no parts.
Right. So down at the Toledo facility, they were chanting "No justice, no Jeeps" yesterday, which sort of. One of the questions that was asked was, why are you hurting consumers? Which is, I think that's a crazy question. None of this is about the consumer. If Ford or Stellantis, if they want to increase what they're charging for their end product and take a larger profit margin, that has nothing to do with you. You guys are here creating the parts necessary to build these vehicles, and you're entitled to a fair share of that production. That's got nothing to do with what the consumer's paying for the end product. I think the better question is, why should you guys continue to suffer and not get fair wages because of what they're doing profit gouging wise?
It's crazy. Like I say,
what more can be said?
Right, it is what it is. Like I say, it's the companies. At the end of the day, they set the prices, and we sit here and we make them rich. And at the end of the day, we still have families to feed. Houses to live. We can't afford these cars, so. And we work here, so.
Which is crazy. That's another aspect that doesn't get talked about a lot. In this capitalist economy we in, 2/3 of the economy is grown by people consuming goods, buying goods. And if you can't buy what you're producing, that could end up being a very big problem overall for the broad economy. Yet the bosses here don't seem to get that. Even Ford notoriously said that he thinks his employees should be able to afford what they're producing. This doesn't seem like a crazy idea.
No, we should be able to afford, but we can't. You see what I'm saying? We live in paycheck to paycheck, and it's unfair. That's just it. So.
Thank you for talking with us. Appreciate that. Yes.
Somebody else push membership and.
Oh, we have some. All right, hang on. I'm going to open up. We've got some new members, new super chats. Again, we are day 8 of the strike here, UAW Strike. We are currently in Warren, Michigan, where the Mopar facility just walked out. Shawn Fain is here on the line with the workers. He was talking to media a minute ago. He's going to continue to be out here. He encouraged media members to go talk to the workers directly and ask them questions, which I think he's right about that. Get these folks' story. Understand why they're out here on the picket line. Strikes are never, first thing you want to do. It's a last resort item. The fact that they're out here means that they've been pushed that far. And their stories are really compelling. We're talking to people that are making $17 an hour, people that have been temporary workers for 7-8 years that are treated like second-class citizens in a union. You have a GM president that was doing an op-ed in the Detroit Free Press where he basically argued that these 15% of workers don't actually matter because the 85% are doing well. But that's not what a union's about. A union is about all workers having fair wages, not 85% of the workers. So I'm going to...
People know that we've been out here every day. Subscribe, 5 to 10,000.
All right, so we have, we have a lot of... hang on, so... Hang on. Got to scroll here. Jordan's been texting me a lot. While you guys are waiting for me to scroll, please make sure you share this live stream. Hit the like button. That helps us grow. If you can afford to become a member, please do. You can do so on our website, or you can become a member on YouTube. It is your financing that helps us grow. It helps us be out here in the field. This costs a lot of money. And we want to keep doing what we're doing. All right, so new members sign up. We have Michael. Thank you so much for signing up. We appreciate your support. We have, 1,300 people watching right now. That's a great audience. We're going to continue to be out here interviewing these folks. If you do have a super chat, I will get to it. Just drop it into the super chat, and Jordan will be texting those to me. Let's see who else we can talk to right now. Can either of you guys talk to me a little bit about why you're out here?
Well, I'm the president of Stellantis.
Oh, well, then you can definitely talk to me about why you're out here. What is your name, sir?
My name is Larry Wynn.
Hi, Larry.
I'm the president of UAW Local 1248.
Right on. So, Shawn Fain was just out here fielding questions from media. He has been encouraging the media to go and talk to workers. I think that's a great way to go about it. We've been doing strike interviews the last 7 days out here. We were down in Toledo, a couple other places, but once you start hearing folks' stories about what's happening, it's really an eye-opening experience.
Yes, it is.
And I don't think a lot of people know. We talked to a guy who was, working at the Stellantis plant in Toledo, where he had been a temp employee for many, many years. He got converted to a full-time employee and lost wages. He lost $2 an hour in wages when they did that. That is crazy.
So that was under a previous contract. But us as well, we've had temps that were here 3 and 4 years, and 2019 we converted them, and now we have another group of temps that are here. And we're hoping to get language so that people are being hired in instead of being temporary workers for years and years.
Yeah, clearly if you're here for more than 90 days, you're no longer a temp worker. So Ford has come to the table on that. They seem to think that 90-day period is reasonable, so they've agreed to that. And COLA, so the holdouts right now, and there's other things Ford still needs to agree to, I understand that, but on these two issues, they seem to come to the table. So Stellantis, GM, they're not at the table, and in fact, you've got the president out there basically saying the 15% that aren't getting a good contract don't matter, and you should be happy that 85% are, but that's not what a union's about.
No, it isn't. So just to tell a story about Mopar, this facility here, we supply dealerships, and we also supply plants. So let's say Sterling Heights Assembly is running out of parts and they want to continue production. They send trucks here to get parts from us. So we are very key to the organization, but they don't feel that we're important. In 2000,
find out that's not the case.
Correct. In 2019, they capped. Okay, in 2019, they capped our workers' pay at $25 an hour. So anyone hired in 2019 make $25 an hour. All of us that no potential increase. So all of us that have been here longer than that, we are up a higher wage. So there's actually 3 tiers within Stellantis, and GM with their CCH, same thing. And we're trying to end all that. We want everybody to make equal pay like it used to be in the old days.
Okay, so explain something to me, because I just want to make sure I got the facts straight. We were told yesterday there were 5 tiers. Is that a separate deal where there's 5 tiers and it's the parts that's 3, or is that just wrong information?
5 tiers. Well, we have team leader pay, which is the $1 an hour higher. That adds another tier to it. And some plants, they have different classifications, which we don't have here. So we are just Mopar versus assembly, and we want everybody to be on an equal foothold.
All right, so another question about the locations that were chosen this morning.
Yes.
So clearly they're all Stellantis, they're all GM. Ford got off the hook because they came to the table with something, which I think long term that was smart on Ford. They're going to be less hurt by this. But I feel like these locations are strategic in the sense, like you were saying, if they need the parts, they don't get them. This could effectively shut down production for both of these companies.
It's a possibility. And also with our facilities, they're trying to combine a lot of our Mopar facilities. Like these 2 facilities behind you and 2 more that I represent that are about 1.5 miles down the street. They want to combine all of them and move them to Trenton, Michigan. So with doing that, we have workers that are laid off in Trenton that have recall rights. So we could potentially suffer job loss if that happens.
No, that absolutely. That's why job security is coming into play. Another one of the concessions that Ford agreed to, which is a big deal, I think, is that you can strike at plants that they're looking to shut down. That's a big deal.
Yes, it is. And, like I said, we're ready to fight. I mean, those of us that have been here, we've taken concessions for years. And our new workers, we want them to enjoy the same fruits of labor that we enjoy over the years. So we're here. Until you hear us, we're going to fight.
Excellent. One last thing. Shawn was making the point that this is a fight that's happening across the country, not just with the UAW, but all workers. And I think he's right on this. There's been sort of an awakening of labor in the country. You've seen Starbucks is starting to unionize. Amazon is starting to unionize. People are saying enough is enough. Why do I have union wages if I'm going to make the same guy as the guy at McDonald's that has no skills? Your workers are pretty skilled. Like, anyone that says otherwise isn't paying attention, in my opinion. So, enough is enough. I understand perfectly where you guys are coming from. It's obvious to me. But not everybody has been out here talking to workers, and they don't. So what sort of messaging would you add to what Shawn was saying about the, reawakening of the labor movement in the country?
Listen, this is the time. This is the fight for the middle class. We're basically the working poor now. So we have a lot of workers that don't make enough to get by week to week. Even here, people think, oh, you guys work for Stellantis. Okay, I have workers here that can't afford to buy one car that we build. And it is time out for that. Here in this country, we've been ruled by corporate greed by so long. So now it's time to fight, and hopefully everybody follow our lead, and let's get what we deserve.
Right. It's that whole adage. We have people. There are far more workers in the country than there are bosses or people in management, CEO. And really, sometimes all it takes is utilizing that strength and seeing it as what it is, strength, having the numbers. So I think that's starting to happen in the country. Thank you for talking with us. Appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Right on. Nice to meet you. Would you like to talk to us a little bit, or?
What do you want to know?
Well, what is your story? You are part of the union here from Mopar, or are you here in solidarity? What's your personal story?
1248 all the way. Okay. Been here 24 years, and when most points from here at Mopar. It's changed over the years. We've had different kind of people as far as tiers and whatnot. We're tired of having 2 and 3 different tiers up here. I'd like to retire in the next couple of years, and I got to think about the people that are going to be taking care of me when I retire. More importantly, they deserve to have what we have. None of this, you're a temp employee, and we're going to keep you for the next 3 years with temp status. 90 days or 120, however they figure it out. Got to make people right and make them whole. I'm very fortunate. I've had a good living, had a good livelihoods turn for these younger people. They have the same thing that we had. And what a lot of people don't get, and I get a lot of it, is we're the ones that helped establish the working class. We're the ones that go out and spend money at the different establishments. Basically, we're the ones that pushes the wages around. People will cry and complain about how little they make, and they don't realize what we do for this country. So we're not trying to be greedy. We're just trying to get back what we had. We lost our behinds in 2008 when we gave up during the bankruptcy, and I understand during the bad times, you have to give up. During the good times, it's time to give back, and I don't think we're being too greedy.
No, you're not being greedy. In fact, they promised you guys in 2008 that all of those concessions would come back once the companies were profitable. Well, the companies are very profitable now, and they haven't been giving any concessions back, and now they're fighting you on the strike when you're asking them to just fulfill the promise and the obligations that they made in 2008.
Right, and I agree with that. We have a different comfort, a different attitude as opposed to I think what's in the States, and they don't quite realize what they're doing. Like my president was saying, you have people here that can't even afford to have decent housing. The price of housing is stupid right now, at the very least. The price of houses is stupid. And how do you expect to have reliable transportation when you can't even afford a car with insurance, with the cost of living, so on and so forth? I'm not saying that they've been treating us horribly bad, but, they need to be treating us better like they should, and they need to be taking care of the new people coming in a lot better than what they should.
Yeah. No, I agree. So you're part of the 85% that Mark Roos, the GM, or the president for GM, was talking about in his op-eds. You're part of the 85% that has a decent wage, and he's basically saying to you, you shouldn't care about the other 15%.
No, it doesn't work that way.
No, but apparently he thinks that he can make that argument and it's going to stick.
Well, it's kind of like this. Ingratitude is a cardinal sin, and I strongly believe in that. I started here 24 years ago. I looked at people that had been here for years, saw the great living they had. I was only making $14 and some change, and I think, God, I'd really like to have that job. You know, like I said, I got 24 years. It's time to give back to the younger people, the newer people. This isn't about us. This is about everybody. When I say everybody, it's not only the people that work here, it's also the people around us, because trying to make a decent living around here is hard enough as it is.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you for talking with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so we just heard from a worker that is full-time. He's been here over 20 years, so he's in a good wage class. He's that 85% that Mark was referencing in his op-ed this morning. He's out here in solidarity, and he doesn't believe that the 15% should continue to suffer. He wants the end to tears, all of that. So we also have, John, look down here. There's a lot of workers down here on the street corner. So we have, okay, we're going to make our way down here. They're blocking the trucks that are trying to come into the plant right now. You know, earlier today when we were at the Wayne facility, we had workers trying to stop some of the vehicles coming in, calling them scabs, and, you know, sort of questioning why they weren't standing in solidarity with them. I'm not entirely clear where these trucks were from, so it's hard to say what they were bringing into the closed-down facility. It looks like this guy might be not trying to get in, though. He just honked. Let's see what's going on. Again, if you are just joining us, we are on the ground in Warren, Michigan. I think this guy is definitely in solidarity. He's honking. All right, so they just gave the thumbs up through the window. Definitely not going to scab. So we are in Warren, Michigan. This is a Mopar facility. They just went on strike at noon today. Shawn Fain, who is the UAW president, he's here on the picket line with them. He announced 38 new locations on a Facebook live stream this morning, and this is one of them. No pay, no parts is what they're chanting.
No pay! No pay! No pay! No pay! No parts! No pay! No pay! No parts! No pay! No parts! No parts! No parts!
No pay, no parts, they're chanting. And you also wanted to make the point that 85% that the GM executive, the president, is claiming is doing so well, we should mention that they are doing better, but they're not wealthy by any means. They're not in the six-figure salary area. They're just doing better. And the cost of goods, cost of housing, like the last guy we just spoke to, he's talking about how housing has increased. That is true across the board, no matter what city you are living in. That's really eating into your wages. Okay. Probably, maybe we should go up this way. These guys are busy.
No pay! No pay! No pay!
Where do you want to go?
Hang on.
I'll change my safe fares to save Mopar. Jared, also want to get some exteriors.
All right, so I wanted to thank some super chats that we are getting right now as we're looking at these workers outside of the Warren, Michigan Mopar facility. Underwater Panther gave us $19.99. Thank you so much, Underwater Panther. Amazing live on the ground coverage. We appreciate you. Christine Bark, $19.99. Thank you, Christine. Kate Faye Garrett, $20. Thank you so much, Kate. Kate says, I live in Warren, Michigan, and I'm going to bike myself over to the Mopar plant to support the picket line. My car's in the shop. It's a Ford. Oh, the irony. Thanks, Status Coup, for the coverage. That's awesome, Kate Faye. Come say hi to us while you're down here. We will be here for probably at least another hour. Right, passionate workers, no pay, no parts. We've been talking to workers. They are very committed to seeing this thing through to the end. They feel like they've just been pushed to the last straw. All right, I'm going to see if we can interview some folks up here. All right, so these guys are basically blocking the entrance down here. We saw a listen to me, a semi-truck, I should say, much bigger than a car, that came by, didn't enter, started honking, gave the thumbs up, so definitely did not want to be the scab truck. So we're going to head up over to this little section here and see if there's workers we can speak with. Again, we are in Warren, Michigan. This is one of the new 38 locations that went on strike at noon today. Well, any of you guys are interested in speaking with us? I'd love to talk to you. Lynette is. Oh, Lynette is? Oh, come on, Lynette. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. I don't bite.
Yeah, right. That's a veteran employee right
Are you a veteran? Actually, I would love to talk. We've interviewed a lot of temp workers. I'd love to talk to a vet if you talk to me just for a minute. Come on now. Come here, both of you. Yeah, there you go. I don't bite. Are you a vet? Oh, you're both veterans. All right, excellent. So I feel like the management is sort of trying to sort of put you at odds with the temp workers.
Yeah, we won't let them do that, though.
No, I got you. You've been here too long. So Mark did this, the GM president had this op-ed this morning where he's saying the 85% are fine, the 15% just throw them under the bus. What's the problem here? This is just misinformation. I don't know if you saw this. It was crazy.
No.
How do you feel about that, being somebody that's been here this long?
I think we should all be treated equal. It's not a fair thing to do, really. Doesn't matter how many years you've been here. We work alongside of each other.
Right.
That's, sometimes a struggle knowing that someone might make less than you do. Right. And we should all make the same because we all do the same type of work.
Right. Another thing,
equal pay.
Let me ask you this. So he's trying to say you guys are way, way better off. Which might be the case, but it's all relative in the sense that we've seen in cost housing, obviously groceries, everything's gotten more expensive. So I don't know that it's also correct to paint you guys as being wealthy people that are living high on the hog or something.
No, those days are over. I think with the wages that we're making now, the people used to be proud to say I work for Chrysler, GM, and Ford. I don't think we have that pride of work anymore, the way they do with the wages. Even the traditional employees, we're not making a lot.
We're just making it.
Yeah, we're just making it. So.
We're just making it, really. For the past 14 years, all they did was take from us.
Right.
Yeah.
They got to give some back.
Right.
Really.
They promised you back in 2008, I'm assuming you were here for this period of time. Yes. So you guys gave up a lot of stuff, cost of living, wages, all kinds of things that actually do matter.
Services. They gave up TAP. We couldn't go to school for free anymore. Oh, wow. We didn't get profit sharings for years. This is things that a lot of people don't see in the news, but we lived it. We work here and went through it. She's been here since '98. I have myself, and we've been through a lot that the new employees don't see.
Profit sharing?
Well, they just started to give back the profit sharing the last couple of years.
Okay. So, this idea that they sold you on in 2008, help work with us now, we're in trouble. We promise that we will give you these things back when we're profitable again. Obviously, that's not happening.
They didn't stand on it. You got to stand on that.
Right. So you didn't get out here overnight. There are real reasons you're out here in front. I think also the public needs to understand that striking is a last resort.
Yeah.
This was not your first choice. This is, you feel like, talk
Correct.
about that a little bit. Oh,
Well,
sorry.
no one wants to strike. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. We don't want to be out here. We'd like to be in there doing our job.
People think you want to strike. I've heard
No,
comments, which
no.
is crazy to me. But
Nobody wants to strike. That's our paycheck that we're
Right.
not receiving anymore.
You literally had
Strike
a Fox
pay.
guy asking Shawn why you were hurting consumers. That was an actual question he threw
They're-
out there, which is like, what?
We're just like the consumers. We have to be able to afford these cars too.
Right. Yeah.
And we work here making them. That's
Well, that's another part of the equation that doesn't get discussed very much. I was saying this to somebody earlier today. This is a capitalist economy. It's driven by consumption. If people don't consume goods, the economy stagnates and dies. And that means it affects the guys at the top. Who are they going to sell widgets to when there's nobody left to sell widgets to because they have no money?
That's just like with the chip. You see it with the chip shortage. It tore the economy up with vehicles. Couldn't even get a vehicle.
Couldn't get a vehicle.
So now you can't get parts until you pay us.
Right. Sorry. No, and this was a very strategic choice, I think, that Shawn made. So these 28 locations
makes a lot of money for them. A lot of money. Yes. We stayed open the whole time COVID was shut down. I was here.
And we don't shut down for the summer, how most of the assembly, we don't shut down. We work all year round here.
Everybody needs their car parts.
Fargo! Y'all supporting us? That's what I'm talking about. Men interview. That's support right there. They've been working here since 98. Yeah, all these are workers. Years here.
So apparently Mark's idea of that you guys should not care about the 50 is not going to, it's falling on deaf ears, which he doesn't understand unions if he thinks that it's only for 85% and not 100%. He's missing the point. He knows better. I agree.
He knows better.
I think
Sorry,
this is
Mark, but you know better.
I think it's an act of desperation maybe, right? Try to change the narrative because the American public, polling has been coming back. They are on your side of this. They understand. And I think partially the reason that that's happening is that
they're hurting too. Yep.
You took the words right out of my mouth. They're hurting too.
And then Michigan, Detroit is the motor city. We are moved. Oh, that's a retiree. We are moved by the automotive industry. We are some of the biggest consumers. We buy everything. So support us. We buy everything. This whole area is moved by us. We support this whole area.
Oh, 100%.
We've been, these restaurants, they know us.
So this particular facility, how many employees are in this one? It's a large one, is my understanding.
How many?
I think Kenny said 200.
Estimate, 200?
How many employees in our facility? In just center line?
Just 31 ton.
I thought it was 120 on days and afternoons.
Yeah, about 2 something.
About 2 something.
Yeah.
Okay.
20 something.
So a large group of folks,
Yeah.
right? You
We have
three
other buildings that are
QEC?
affiliated with us here.
Yeah.
In this area. Yeah, and Marysville.
Yeah, we got a lot of facilities.
Romulus.
Shut them down.
Romulus, right. So, and now all of these locations are parts locations this morning, the 38 locations. I think this is strategic in the sense that if you can't get parts, you can't build vehicles. So eventually this will end up shutting down the entire production line if they can't get their parts, right?
That's right.
Besides the people that need their parts to fix their cars. Dealerships. We supply the dealerships.
Okay, that's an interesting point. So now the dealerships are going to be barking about not being able to get parks. So they're going to put pressure.
And the company thought they were doing something by saying, oh, we have a surplus of cars, so if they go on strike, we'll be fine. But now you don't have parts. So if you don't have parts, you can't.
Yeah, the dealers don't care about that. They're like, we need the parts because this is important information. A big part of what dealerships make money off of is servicing the vehicles they've already sold. So this could effectively really harm their business.
Yeah.
So they could turn around and say to GM, Stellantis, whatever, hey guys, get it together. You're hurting us now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is they got it.
Trickles down.
Yeah, Ford, they're doing right by Ford. Like, why? So why?
This is the actual trickle down effect. You've heard of trickle down economics. This is real trickle down economics. We're living it right now. Everything is integrated at this point. So I think that that's a good point. And again, this isn't necessarily about the consumers. Most of the American public understands what you're going through because they're also facing financial hardship.
I mean, destroy the middle class.
Yeah, across the board, people are losing wages. It's not just auto workers. So when they see you out here, a part of them, I think, goes, yeah, I feel that. I get that.
Oh, my God.
I would kill myself if I tried that. So you notice that there are some folks that are pulling up that are actually retired. They're out here in solidarity as well. Right on. So he's going to come out and be on the picket line with you. He's retired, but he's seen what's going on.
He's been there.
We're not letting him in.
Oh, that guy right there. You're right.
I wonder who is that.
I don't know. Should we go check it out?
I'm sure we know him. It's got to be a
A boss.
Oh, maybe it's a boss. Hey, John?
A lot of them are here already.
Should we go down and check out what's going on there with this guy trying to cross the picket line, or?
He ain't getting in there.
He ain't getting in there, but I want to go film the look on his face. I'll be back.
We want to see it.
I'll be right back. All right, so they think this might be somebody in management that's in the Jeep out here in the front trying to turn in. The workers are blocking the entrance with their picket line. No parts. No parts, no pay is what they're chanting. All right, let's take a look.
No pay! No parts! No pay! No parts! No pay! No parts! No pay! No parts!
So he's... Do we know who this guy is? Is he in management or something? He obviously wants to cross your picket line.
Parts! No pay! No parts! No pay! No pay! No parts!
So he's on the phone in the car. Folks don't necessarily know who he is, but he clearly wants to cross the picket line. We do have somebody walking out from the facility, though. So I think we'll just keep an eye on this for a minute and see what's going on here.
No parts! No pay! No parts! No pay! No parts! No pay! No pay! No parts! No pay!
No pay, no parts.
No pay! Larry said let him in! No pay! No parts! No pay! No parts! No pay! No pay!
I'm sorry, what?
Private property past the sidewalk, so you guys have to
Oh, you're going to call it?
that's what they're coming to do. Who is it?
Really?
I was making a joke. I'm serious. Private property.
So I just spoke with one of the security guys who basically told us we couldn't be on the private property. So management here has basically said if we're on the private property, they're going to arrest us for trespassing. So let's go down here and see what's going on.
Why we letting them in? You guys can have different events, but you have to let them block them. You know what I'm saying? So you walk at a snail's pace, but you got about 15 minutes legally to kind of stall people.
Yeah, we had
you know what I'm saying?
5 minutes.
Yeah, and the whole end was open.
This is awful.
Okay, I got you. I got
The
you.
end was open about 12.
I got you. We got to respect that. They're having a little powwow there about what they can do legally as far as blocking scabs from coming in the entrance. But I do think it's interesting that the security guy basically told us we couldn't be. Yeah, we got you. That's why I walked away. Although, can I tell you, the guy that came out here basically said management said if we were on their private property, they were going to call the cops and have us arrested for trespass. And I'm like, really?
Good luck with that.
I'm like, you're going to arrest press members? That's a bad look. I mean, go for it. Stellantis will look really bad.
Yeah.
And he kind of laughed and he's like, it's not my. I'm like, all right.
I would honestly love to see that. Seriously. I think that would be hilarious.
It would be kind of, in a way.
God, I mean, I don't know how this isn't the happiest workforce in America. They got dispensaries every 15 feet. That's also off the record.
Well, hang on. I'm going to move this over here. We're live right now. Just so you know.
Oh, yeah, right.
No,
Oh, you are? Oh, geez, I'm saying that?
Yeah.
Don't.
Sorry. I don't.
For how many hours?
Okay, so I actually. I sort of want to go down and finish the interview with the gals, the vets down there. So that was kind of interesting. I wonder if they actually would, follow through on having us arrested for that. I think that would be a bad look for Stellantis, which is not something they could afford right now. Having said that, you never know. All right, so we're going to wander back here and talk to our veteran employees, see what else they have to say. So it's not really clear to me who that individual was, but interesting thing that happened is we were standing in the driveway over here, and the security guy came out and said, you have to get off the private property or we're going to have you arrested for trespassing. And I'm like, really? I mean, that would be a bad look for Stellantis. Having said that, who knows what they're capable of. Raya's mom, I wanted to finish up our veteran interview because we've talked to a lot of temp workers, but not a lot of folks that have been here, you know, a long time and have seen all of these changes since 2008, you know, going forward. So what are some of the things that you lost that you don't think are coming back? You had mentioned profit sharing is finally starting to come back. Profit sharing, I think, is important because that's how you're going to, you know, get some of your retirement funding, right? Yeah. So this means when the companies are profitable, a portion of that money goes into the profit sharing account that gets split up between workers. So having that is really important. It's not something that's been deeply discussed.
Okay. Yeah, it is important because we're the ones who are making the profit for the company, so share that with us. Right. Just like those are the demands that we're asking now. If you give your CEOs a 40% raise, give us something. Why are you trying to start us at the bottom of the barrel? Right. It doesn't make any sense. And your other part of the question, as far as what I don't think we'll get back, I don't think we're going to get back the pensions. That's why they're offering the 6% for the 401k match.
Right.
But the company will still win there because not everyone contributes to their 401k.
Well, they can't afford to.
Yeah, they can't afford to. So the company is going to win there.
Right.
And it's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. Pensions are gone for most of working class America across the board.
Yep.
But I would say this also makes the profit sharing even more important because this is maybe a chance for you to get your hands on some retirement income in the meantime. And I think, you know, it's hard for them to say profit sharing isn't fair because it's based on the companies being actually, that's why it's called profit sharing.
Yes, so people don't understand.
It's you getting your fair share of what you put in.
There's a lot of people that never worked in a plan and never worked in a type of environment with the union, so they don't have the same solidarity and they don't have the same respect for the union as someone that's been here I've been here since I was 19 years old.
Wow.
So I've been here a long time, since 98. That's a long time to work in the same place. So I've grew up in here. I've seen people come and go. I've seen a lot of changes. Yeah. And this is probably comparable to 2007 or 8 when we went on strike. However, we wasn't even making money. We were bankrupt. So whatever we asked for then, we were begging. But now the company made, what, $21 billion?
Yeah, a lot of money.
Pay up.
Pay up, yeah. That was another thing that GM president made reference to. He was saying that all of those profits were being capital investments, meaning like, I'm going to take this money we're making in profit-wise, we're going to spend it on new facilities, new plants, new whatever, even though they're closing down some. So I'm not sure how that figures into the mix. But the number that he listed isn't the same number that appears on company statements. If you look at the public company statements, only maybe, I would say 50% of that number is accounted for, so I'm not sure where all those other millions...
Probably to their CEOs. Yeah. Carlos Tavares made $25 million last year.
Yeah. And notice they never talk about CEO pay getting cut. It's always increased.
Yeah, and it's like, if I was a CEO, I would want to be paid well too. However, I'm going to make sure my people are paid well also.
Right. You're more happy, you're more productive, you have better output when you are a well-paid employee. That's just a fact of the matter. You know, that's the other thing. Nobody's suggesting, let me say this, nobody is suggesting that a CEO shouldn't have a higher salary than your average worker. Literally nobody's making that complaint. I think the real complaint lies in the fact from the period of 1968 forward, you've seen that number increase to an insane amount. So it used to be like 20 times more than your average. It's now 400 times more.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And the people are suffering from it. People are suffering from it. There's no, this new generation, there's no pride in working here. This is just a job to them. They don't get a pension from here. So they'll hop from here to another place. You got fast food restaurants now that are paying $17, $18 an hour. And you're starting people in here $14 and $15. I'll go flip a burger. Right. So it doesn't make sense.
And I will go flip a burger, which is a no-skill job. I mean, just whatever. Less stress.
It is what it is.
So it doesn't make sense that they wouldn't recognize that. That you have to train the employees that work here. You would think that they would have some sort of loyalty, or in the very least, also understanding that it costs money to train employees. So if you,
I'm a facilitator and a trainer of this facility.
Okay, talk about that.
So I'm in the office. I'm in the block house. They call it the block house, and I'm in the office every day with some of the highest management that we have in here, and it's just ridiculous. I have to train the people, and then they go out on the floor with the team leaders, and then they do the job. And then the turnover rate, we're constantly Training.
Yeah, turnover rates are very bad for long-term business health.
It is.
That's just a fact of the matter. So it's
some people don't want to be temporary employees for 3 years.
I don't know why.
If I'm going to work here and be a temp for 3 years, they're going to go somewhere else where they can get hired in and get benefits within 90 days.
Yeah, it just
like
doesn't
it
make
used
sense.
to be.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense that that's what they're going to. That is the hill they're dying on. It just doesn't make sense. What other thoughts do you have that you think are important that aren't discussed very much from the perspective of a veteran employee that's seen all of these things?
We just want fairness, just fairness. People come to work, they want to work. We just want fairness. Pay us what you know that we're worth, and just give us our pay. I know they're not going to bring back the pensions, I'm sure, but at least keep the match with the 401k. We got to encourage the new employees to try to contribute. With the pay raise, they could possibly contribute even if it's 5%.
Right.
Just something towards their retirement, because we have to teach them not to just think about the now. You have to think about what's going to happen when we're gone and retired.
Right.
They're going to be out here fighting. We're fighting for the next generation, because I don't have many years. I'll be out of here.
Right.
I have 4 years and I can retire.
That's an important point, and also the fact you did have some retirees that are down here right now on the picket line that pulled up. That means there is solidarity across the board. I feel you on the pensions. I feel like that ship has sailed as well, which is tragic.
It is tragic.
These pensions could be funded. Let me throw this crazy idea out here. I'm going to sound like Bernie Sanders right now. Pensions absolutely could be funded if we didn't have a ratio of 400 times average worker pay to CEO space. Pensions could be funded if you didn't have a bot Congress and a billionaire class absolutely controlling all aspects of our political society at this point.
That's why it's important for who you vote for.
It 100% is. But also part of that problem is it seems like a lot of the politicians, they'll show up for a photo op, but then what happens when they go back to Congress? What happens when they go back to the state House of Representatives? What happens if do they follow through, or is it just lip service? We've seen a lot of lip service. I think the PRO Act would have helped a lot of workers. That died on the vine.
Yep. Because people that die, people don't understand. And when we go to Black Lake and we go to leadership at the region, and they teach us about the union, they teach us about how people died for this, what we're doing right now.
100%.
People died for this. So we're fighting. We're fighting for the next generation.
100%. And let me mention this. People did die for the union way back. I'm going to go back 20s, 30s when there was a massive fight. You had Pinkertons. This is how old I am. I know what a Pinkerton is. So the GM and also other businesses, not just the auto industry, they would hire the Pinkertons that would come in as union busters, and they were very violent. They would use live rounds of ammunition. They would beat the shit out of people that were trying to unionize. It was a very dangerous time to be a union worker. But because of those folks, because of what they did, we have 40-hour work weeks. And lots of other things. So when there is a more robust union workforce, there are better protections for all workers across the board, not just the union members. That's what I'm getting at.
I agree.
Yeah.
It is.
All right. Thank you so much.
Together.
We have to, yes. Thank you. Appreciate you. All right. So that was a veteran. Yeah. All right. So hang on. We are going to change a battery. This might be just some. Might cut out for 1 second. Stay with us. We're just going to change the battery. Watching? You want to talk to me?
No.
Are you shy?
You
guys are so shy.
Get up. I don't talk a lot.
No. Are we good on the battery? All right. So what? No. All right. I'm just going to talk about you. So one of the workers just came up to us. They've been watching our live streams from home, but as with many other workers, they're too shy to talk to us. I get it. It takes a brave soul to get in front of a camera and be calm and collected. I understand why that makes some people nervous. I do want to mention that we don't take corporate donations. We are able to do what we do because of membership. So if you can afford to join as a Status Coup member, please do so. You can do so on our website or on YouTube. $5 a month helps. Our live view system costs a lot of money. Hotels cost a lot of money. Our salaries are not high. Please don't think that they are. We are also, we're in the fight with you guys too, because we know what we're talking about. So I want to check and see if we have new members that have signed on. I think we do, actually. I want to give you guys a shout out. hang on. Oh, here we go. All right, so we have some new website members. Brian, Daniel, and Michael, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. We appreciate that. Again, it is your donations that fund our work, and I think this is really important work. Jordan and I have both worked for mainstream media in the past, so we know what that's about. This allows us to actually say some hard truths that I think need to be said. You know, and oftentimes you hear media, media bias. We're supposed to give 50% to one side, 50% to another. Oftentimes there's only one side, and that is a commitment to veracity, in my opinion. You know, I don't think I should give equal measure to a neo-Nazi that's fighting with somebody that wants justice for, communities that are being threatened by them, as an example. So what we do here is we give you the unvarnished truth. We are out here talking to workers. Another day we will be talking to people that are in social justice movements. But again, all of this costs money, and telling these important stories costs money. So we do appreciate when you are willing to give us $5 a month to keep us going. All right, so I think we should maybe work our way down to the other end there. Yeah, let's go down this way and see who we can talk to down here. Thank you. Okay, so we have a Status Coup? Status Coup?
What's that?
So we have a large YouTube channel. We also, license footage to bigger networks.
I didn't think I didn't bring my guitar. What the heck?
Do you play guitar?
Trying to.
Try. Got to have time for the arts. Arts are important. Another thing we need to bring back in the United States, arts programs for kids, right?
Well, I think it's a little bit of everything because there's a lot of things that are lost art. When I say lost art, how often do we even really do anything with poetry or anything stupid like that? Or for that
Not often enough, honestly.
You're not taping me, I hope.
Oh, no, we're live right now, just so you know.
Oh, just what I need.
Yeah,
hey, Mom. No, I'm joking. They said I never make TV. Yeah, and I didn't do anything illegal either. On a more serious note.
That's so funny.
It blows my mind how kids just stand in front of video games all day long.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you not do something with your mind?
It's a different generation. We didn't have that ability, right?
In a way, and that's how there
was no internet when I was in school. We didn't have internet until I got into college.
Well, we didn't have internet, but I think the other thing is, when's the last time there was a really big strike like this for the kids to see?
A very long time. It's a long time in the making, this strike. And I believe historically this is the first time that all three major auto...
Yes, at the same time.
Yeah. So that's a big deal.
It just kind of blows my mind in the sense that, they don't really... There's a lot of entitlement out there. Is that a good word to use? A lot of entitlement out there.
I think, I think, I don't think anybody in the society right now is entitled except for the 1%. But I think there's a fake feeling of being entitled to certain things. Does that make sense?
If your parents are paying for your college education as opposed to pay for your own stuff, there's two different
the
things.
1%, 100%.
And I paid for mine,
there.
so I should say I paid for most of mine. The UAW helped get me my bachelor's and my master's. But, back
and that program has gone away.
I think it's still there.
Is it still there? Okay.
I just recall back then that I had to pay for my last two classes for my master's, and I'm glad with that. It's just a matter of, higher education is a thing of the past, it seems like, unless you want to get yourself in serious debt.
Which is crazy. I went to UC system. I went to the UC system. I was able to get a master's degree without taking a student loan, but the tuition was still partially financed by the state government at that point. Financing in California, for example, for the UC system is down to like 10%.
Right.
So where do they make up for all of that lost money? Well, it goes into higher tuition. So it's become very difficult for young folks, I think, to get a college degree, which they definitely need to.
Without getting in debt to everyone.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's another problem. I think we should refund, meaning not refund, but refinance, I should say, is probably a better choice of words.
I got a better idea. How about we stop putting money across seas and stupid,
well, that too.
And I'm not trying to be mean, we give our money away to foreign companies and we're not reinvesting in the states and in our people.
Oh, I agree with you. Let me ask you this. So I think another example of that, they gave a large loan to Ford, the government did recently, even though they're very profitable. They got a multi-billion-dollar loan. I think maybe the government should, attach something to that loan. If we're getting money, taxpayer-funded government loans, there should be some, parameters
Let me ask you this: did they make any money, any parameters when they gave them money to the banks, and the banks just
No, there too as well.
They put that money in their pocket.
That's right.
You know,
Wait, not only did they not do that, all of those guys gave themselves fat bonuses for tanking our economy.
and that's the thing that kind of kills me, because back when
It's
we
all
had to get
true.
the bailout in 08, or
Right.
I think it was 8 or 9, something like that. You know, they put all those stipulations into our contract, but like you said, they gave those money to all those banks and whatnot with those stipulations, and who
Right.
ended up paying the consumers,
The taxpayers, yeah.
and other people that lost their homes. you
Yeah,
know,
not the guys that tank the economy that should be held responsible for tanking the
Well,
economy.
it's the
They,
suits.
yeah.
Well, it's the suits. They took the economy just in their pockets.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Hello. Hostile work environment. Love it. That's a good sign. Is there... Okay, so there's another car down there again. I don't know. It's hard to say if these guys are... So I guess what that guy was saying is that they can block it up to a certain point and then they have to let them through. So for those...
15 minutes and then they have to
15 minutes, that's right. Okay. So for those that are just joining us, we are on the ground right now in Warren, Michigan at the Mopar plant. This is one of the 38 facilities that Shawn Fain, UAW president, called to strike this morning. So at noon, they all walked out of this facility. They walked out of 38 facilities across the country, including Los Angeles. So we are out here talking to workers, getting their stories. Yeah, I got you. Does anybody want to talk to us? Or do you guys want to talk to us? Tell us your stories while you're out here striking? No? 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 Are you sure?
I can't talk to you. This ain't my fight.
It is your fight.
It's not my
It ain't gotta be your
facility.
plant.
Are you a UAW member? So you're out here today in just solidarity?
Yep.
Is your facility not closed yet? Okay, I got you. We were down in Toledo yesterday. There was a whole group that came down from Michigan to support them. I mean, it is your fight then. It 100% is your fight.
General Motors, I'm out here.
I'm gonna let
Yeah.
you represent their facility. I'll go represent mine.
Y'all ain't going down.
Well,
Y'all gonna be laid off.
Hey now. Have a good day. All right, so that was an individual whose facility isn't on strike yet, but he's out here in solidarity with these folks. All right, so let's see. Do any of you guys want to come talk to me about why you're out here on the strike line today? Well, both of you come together. Don't point at each other. I don't bite.
I'll pass.
You'll pass?
Yes, ma'am.
No? Anyone? You're shy. All right. If you change your mind, come talk to me. Can I talk with any of you guys about why you're out here striking? Well, I do know why, but I think people want to hear your stories. Like, you know what I mean?
You got our permission to tell me.
I have your permission to tell your story?
Yeah.
All right, so you tell me your story right in this chair, and then I'll... I know the big picture story.
That's all you need.
That's all I need? I think Americans want to hear more than that. You know, like here, let me give you an example. So yesterday we were down in Toledo. I spoke with a worker. They know who I am. I spoke with a worker who had, been a temp employee for many years. He got switched to being a full-time worker and lost $2 an hour in pay for that switch. That is insane. I think people need to hear that stuff. They don't know it. You're right. I'm telling your story for you. Okay, so I'm going to put this over here. Tell me anything I don't know. All right. You can't blame me for trying. Hi, how are you doing? Well, you want to talk to us? I love your glasses. Those are awesome. What's your story? Why are you here striking today? Are you in the Mopar facility? Or?
I am. I'm in the Mopar facility.
So you walked out at noon today?
We did.
Right on. So how long have you been here at the Mopar facility?
I'm a new hiree, and I'm new to the auto industry.
Oh, okay. So you're one of the new... So you're temp then, right?
No,
more or
I'm
less.
not temp. I'm full-time.
You got... Oh, now tell us how that happened, because most of the time I'm understanding that's not the case. So you got hired in right off the bat as full-time?
I got hired in last contract.
Oh, okay. So it's been a minute. All right. So how many temp workers do you guys have at this particular facility?
I'm not for sure. Like I said, I'm new, full time.
All right, fair.
And I love it here, and I hope we survive, and I hope we come back strong.
Do you know, we're hearing that a lot too. I think more people need to realize you folks do like your jobs. You're not out here because you don't like your jobs. You just want a fair living wage for doing what you love to do.
Well, yeah, not what I love to do, what I have to do.
All right, fair. That's fair.
Right, what I have to do. We work hard here, and we deserve better. So
yeah, 100%.
Right.
What is your name?
Kelly.
Thanks for talking with us, Kelly.
Thanks for talking.
Love your glasses, man. Right on. All right, let's see. I guess there's some more workers around the corner here. Should we check that out? So this is the Mopar facility. Again, we're in Warren, Michigan. You had 38 sites that were shut down at noon today, adding to the ones that were already on strike. All of them were Stellantis or GM because Ford, 100%. Do you want to talk to us for a second? No? Okay.
I say, trust me, but I appreciate you.
Right on.
I was listening to you. We appreciate it, really do.
Right on.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to tell your stories.
No.
You have legitimate reasons for being out here.
Today probably wouldn't be a day, but if I see you around,
okay.
maybe I'll give you that.
Well, yeah. All right. Right on.
I just wanted you to know. Thank you for that. To interviewing people, and I thought you did a wonderful job.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
so
that.
much.
Right on. Good luck.
Thank you.
And yeah, we'll be here for a few days. So
I'm gonna get you.
All right. Sounds good.
The newness of it all.
I feel you.
I might spew something, and I don't want to do that.
Oh, okay. No, I get you.
Like the clown that gets on the
yeah, I 100% get you. All right. You too, man. What was I saying? So that's awesome. That guy's appreciating our reporting. Nice. So, you know, I wanted to mention Ford. Ford is the one of the 3 auto workers that did not get expanded strike locations. That is because they actually did come to the table. They basically are willing to give back COLA, which is the cost of living adjustments. They are willing to get rid of the tiered pay. So that would mean 90 days on probation as a new employee, and then you will be hired full time. So none of this nonsense where you're a temporary employee for 7 years and, you know, you've got people doing the same exact job with all these different tiers of pay, some of which are quite low, $16, $17 an hour, $19 an hour. So Ford got a bit of a respite because they did come to the table with those things. Now, that doesn't mean that they're 100% there in their negotiations. They still have some ground to work on, but they're closer than what Stellantis and GM is. Hey, how you guys doing? Do any of you want to talk to us about? Oh, I already talked to you. Yeah, you were my first person I talked to. Do you guys want to talk to me?
Oh, no, it's okay.
No?
Today my hair ain't done.
Your hair looks great. No. I think your hair looks great. All right. Lots of shy workers, I understand. You know, they get nervous. They're not sure if they say something bad or something wrong, especially because they're angry right now. It's to be understood. So why don't we make one last pass down to the front of the facility where they're picketing in a circle so cars can't drive in. See what's going on down there. And then I think what we're going to do is make our way to another location. So, you know, generally we don't go live 5 or 6 times a day. We might end up doing that today. I'm not sure, because we want to hit as many of these locations and talk to as many workers as we possibly can. So don't wait for notices. Please, you know, check in with Status Coup to see if we are live on the ground covering some of this. All right, we are making our way down across the strike line. So obviously they have picketers stationed at various locations around the building. The majority of them seem to be down here now, migrated down here to where this main entrance is.
I'll get you by the collar. I'm not putting my head towards you. Not that far.
You know, we were, this morning, we'll be uploading a little bit later today. We were at the Wayne Ford plant when all of these announcements were made by Shawn Fain. So we have some interviews we took there. Reactions, obviously, from the guys on the strike line. You know, this is a Ford facility, so a lot of them were, you know, kind of saying Stellantis and GM were done because Ford did come to the table with some of these concessions. Chanting no corporate greed. They're still chanting no pay, no parts. So they're chanting no pay, no parts. All right, we have a few more super chats that I wanted to mention as we're looking at these strikers here in Warren, Michigan. Michael Petty, $10. Thank you so much, Michael. Love Status Coup. Would you ask these workers what they felt like leading up to the walkout today? Was it what it was like walking out, and how do they feel now that they're actually striking? That's a great question. I will definitely ask some workers this. Thank you for the suggestion. TMB the Trucker, $19.99. Thank you so much for that donation, TMB the Trucker. Henry Jumbohead, $4.99. Thank you so much, Henry. Love you for what you do. Love you all. We appreciate you too, Henry. Appreciate the $4.99. Let's see if we can get some workers to respond to Michael Petty's question. Yeah, let's see. So now the security guy is out here on the edge. Can I ask you a question? We have a viewer that has a question for you.
Okay.
All right, so would you ask these workers what they felt like leading up to the walkout today and what it was like walking out, and how do they feel now that you're actually out here striking?
The workers were ready this time. As you know, I've been here a long time, so the last time we did this was in 2007, and I think people were a little more scared because we were going through bankruptcy. This time, people walked out with confidence because we're fighting for what they owe us. So it was more confident. People were ready. You had a few, TPTs that maybe were a little scared, but everybody did it with confidence. We walked out with confidence today. So we was ready. When we walked out with no fear.
That makes sense because you're mentioning back then there was bankruptcy. So the idea of bankruptcy is you could very well lose your job permanently. The company could, but now
for much. Now it's like, you making millions, billions. Let's go.
Security, let's go. Pay us our wage.
Yep.
Thank you for that. I thought it was a good question. I want to ask you.
Good.
So this is the security guards that were out. This is a different one than before, but yeah, you can see where management has them doing this.
I mean, and we work with them. We see them daily, so it's not like they're our enemies.
No, it's probably a little bit awkward for them right now.
It's awkward, but we're doing what we got to do. Like, I'm friends with all of them, but we're fighting for our livelihood.
Right. No, 100%.
Yep.
And that is perfectly acceptable. That is First Amendment protected free speech. The right to strike is ingrained in the American DNA.
It is.
100%.
And we will.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, so we are going to we're going to end this live stream for now. We've pretty much talked to everybody here that wants to talk. They're going to continue to strike here and picket here. But there are multiple other locations that I want to get to today and talk to some of the workers there. Obviously, not all 38 are in the vicinity of where we are, but there are several that are in our vicinity. We had, Shawn Fain was out here with these picketers earlier today. I'm probably going to see him probably at another strike line. I'm sure he's out all day with the workers. So if you don't get a notice, I'm going to ask that you guys, continue to monitor whether we're live or not, because I want to go live at as many of these locations as we possibly can. Again, I'm Tina-Desiree Berg reporting for Status Coup, and we'll see you at the next location.